But I want to tell you a few things that I remember so clearly is seeing that presentation at my kitchen table. I can close my eyes and I'm back there like that. It gave me hope. And that is what you take to people. Okay. And when I started, I only knew people like us, people that were broke, people that were busy, people that had kids and stuff. Yeah, I had 7 kids. Okay. But my kids were in like figure skating and hockey, small little community. It didn't cost, the fortune it does in the big centers. So we had kids and all those things. We had farm animals, we had chores, we had things that required us to be present all the time. So we had to make some choices. You are going to have to make some choices in your life too. The people around you, the people that are going to support you, are only going to support you if you're serious about this. If they think this is a hobby, if you've tried different businesses, they're going to think it's one of those things. They may be waiting to see ultimately, if you're serious before they're going to back you. So you have to behave like this is it. You have to tell yourself that. Remember, how you think is ultimately what's going to lead to your success here. So you've heard that you have to build it 3 times in your mind, on paper, and then for real. We're going to talk about the for real today. Most people in Primerica build it in their mind and they're dreaming and wishing, and they never move it to a plan and action. And those 2 things, this is like the Primerica filter. It's the success filter. It takes no emotional or mental energy to dream, to think about how awesome life would be. If you follow any of the $1 million earners on social media, they're jetting around the world, they're doing whatever they want, and it's easy to wish for that for yourself. Anybody that does an IBA, and even the people that don't, who buy a freaking lottery ticket, they can do that. They build it in their mind briefly. You have to build it in your mind so that it is tattooed, it is branded in your thinking. That's what they call a clear, concise mental picture of what you want. That's CCMP. Okay. I am assuming, because you are all on today, that you have that for yourself. And if you feel like yours is a little fuzzy, then guess what? Quit waiting. Get your butt in front of a piece of paper and do some planning and dreaming. And just when you think you're thinking big, you're not. Think a little bigger. Okay. It has to make you emotional. Think about the people you love and care about, what you want to do for them. Okay. So then when you put it on paper, what you want on paper, that's the step 2. And that filters out all the just wishers and dreamers. When you put it on paper, that number is smaller, people that actually do that. You write it out. Once you write it out, something funny happens when you physically write it out. I'm not talking typing. I'm not talking, I got it in my phone, I'm good. I'm not talking that. I'm talking pick up this. Archaic, yes. And by the way, depending on how young you are, maybe you never learned cursive writing in school. They're not teaching it nowadays. Print it. I don't care. But pen to paper, okay? When you write it out, it changes how you think. Once you've written it out, then it's easy to start from there, because it's just a matter of figuring out what kind of income do I need to get me to that life. All right. So that is the third filter, is the taking action. And that is the great divider. People that take action and remain consistent with their action build the life they want. Okay. So you're going to learn how to don't focus on being busy, focus on being productive. There's a big difference between busy and productive. I mean, you can kind of see behind me, but I could be busy cleaning up my office, not productive. I just need to have it, yes, it's true, cluttered, whatever, cluttered mind. Okay, I get all that. But I can go to a clean room and get to work. You know what I'm saying here? Okay, So you have to know the core activity you need to do. The core activity, what is work? Work is being on an appointment, talking about Primerica distribution, or prospecting to find people to get in front of. It is those two things. That is work. Everything else is preparing for that or the byproducts that come from that. Okay. So you have to be real clear on work. Distraction is natural. You're going to have distractions. Plan for it. The bigger your goal, the more distractions are going to come at you. Okay. So first thing, you have to get away from your feelings. Feelings don't matter. You have to just shove them to the how you feel. I'm not talking about other people's feelings. I'm talking about yours. Weak-minded people are not successful here. You have control of your attitude. You have control of your activity. You have control of your behavior. Okay, but your attitude is the number one thing you have to guard. And you have to train yourself to be forward thinking and to be what if in a positive way. Most people are what if in a negative way. What if they tell me to get lost? What if they tell me not to call them again? What if they tell me this? Well, what if you're the person they've been praying for? What if they're a Mario Arizon on your team? What if it works? What if you can have everything you're dreaming about? So change your what if to think the right way. Okay. And remember, like, growth is your responsibility, no one else's. It's not your uplines. It's not your field trainers. It's not your downlines. Growth is your personal responsibility. Okay. 100% on you. There's, bless you over there, sneezing. You know, like, here's the thing about personal responsibility is that it's awesome and it's scary at the same time. I tell my team, I'm not responsible for their success or failure. They are. And same with each one of you. And there's real freedom in that. No one can hold you back. And you can build it. If you don't like the way your RVP does stuff, awesome. You have the freedom to build a team, become an RVP, and take the best of what your RVP does and do what you want to do. And you have your own business then. So you're an adult. How awesome is that? So growth is your responsibility. So the system does the work for you. You don't have to give some like fancy, stellar, perfect presentation. The system does the work. The information does the work. It is, but you have to be the deliverer of that information. And then finally, like, you have to know and perform your job description. What is your job description? Is your job description for you to like have this awesome business that runs independently and you have total freedom of time and money? Or to you, is your job description is, I'm just gonna go see a family a week or help a friend, or, you know, like we all know people that do something once a year or twice a year or whatever. And if that's what they want, then all the power to them. But are you getting what you want? Okay. So I'm going to share some screens with you. To me, I was laser focused on becoming an RVP when I started. That's all I wanted to do, was be an RVP. The other contract guidelines prior to that were just steps I was going to hop over on the path to be an RVP. I needed to make money, and I needed to, if I could be paid more for doing the same thing, if I was district or RVP, I wanted RVP. So what do I have to do for that? Okay, laser focus on that. My goal was never, I want to be a district. I want to do this. No, it was RVP and RVP only. That's where the bonuses start. It's where the freedom starts. That is like, and best contract level. Okay. So you have to know what your focus is. All right. And so everybody here, I think, is either, you know, you're licensed. Some of you have been in the business for a while, some of you not so long. Well, here's the thing, is that you can't get discouraged if you change and your business doesn't change right away, it's on a bit of a lag. And that's going to happen. And too many people I've seen quit doing what they needed to do after, a month, 2 months, because they felt like they weren't seeing results yet. Got to give yourself minimum. They say 90 days, give it 6 months. See where you're going to be 6 months from now, a year from now. If you have a job, you can pretty much guarantee where you're going to be 6 months or a year from now, probably the same place. Here, you can drastically change your life. And it's not just overnight. It takes a while. So you have to, it's a test. It's a test of how bad you want it. Or that's how it seemed to me. Okay. So I'm going to pull up my, shift this over. There we go. Okay. So the first thing I needed to do was I needed to be aware of really what the numbers were, because once I knew what the numbers were, then after that I was able to plan it out. Okay. So is it a simple plan? 100% it's a simple plan. Okay. Okay. So when I talk about working the numbers, all the numbers, if you don't know this, like, I saw this in my sleep, these numbers. So my business now, it's awesome. It's worth, millions of dollars. If I had known back then what I know now, and I used to be told, you need to work a business plan. Do you have a business plan? Well, if you have a business that's, multi-million dollar business, of course you have a business plan. You know what your plan is for the next year, for whatever. But when you're starting, if you have a plan, you can achieve things faster. So make a damn plan. Okay. So here's what you do with working the numbers. And this is where you have to drop the emotion. Those calls where it says calls. It doesn't say text messages. It doesn't say social media post. It doesn't say, I reached out. Well, no. Did you speak with a decision maker about getting in front of them, either Zoom or personally? Okay. I prefer personally because I know it can be more impactful and I can read the room better. And the tone I get and all those other things. So you want to get that experience under your belt before you start to just be a Zoom or an online business, in my opinion. Okay. So 25 calls where you speak with the decision maker. If someone says to me, well, I made 10 calls. How many people actually answered the phone? How many times did you get a kid? How many times did you leave a message? Now, sometimes I will text first and say, something important I want to talk to you about. What's a good time to give you a call? Some people just don't answer their phone unless they're expecting something. So when I say something important I want to talk to you about, what's a good time to call you? Then, what happens is curiosity just kind of makes it more likely that I'm even going to get to talk to somebody. You make 25 calls, you end up with 12 appointments set. Now, 12 appointments set ends up with you actually sitting down at 8. So a third of them fall off for whatever reason. Why do you not take that personally? Because crap happens. People get busy. I mean, I've forgotten things. I've forgotten a dentist appointment. You think about, not slightly intentional, but forgotten nonetheless. So when you have appointments set, you control that. You don't control what happens on the other side in their life. Okay. So you take 8. You don't even think about the 4. You just reschedule them or work to reschedule them. Of the 8, we have got 5 financial needs analysis that you run, on average about 3 life sales per household. That's usually 6 apps then, and you get 1 person interested in your business. All right. So let's look at, I just pulled some numbers. Okay. Let's think about income. If you see a family, 30, 35-year-old couple, 500,000 each on a 35-year term. That's what their premium would be. What does that mean? Well, at a district contract, I just looked at the advances. 75% advance. I just assume the QBI was good, so you get the full advance. If you're a district, that's $654 you'd be advanced. If you're an RVP, your advance is $1,439. Do you see the importance of RVP? Okay, of pushing for that. This on the district side, you're learning, you're getting better. You want to go, you don't spend a lot of time at a lower contract level if you don't have to. Get competent, get as much done as you can. Squeeze your field trainer's brain as long as you can. All right. Ask them questions, get good. Get so that you feel like you're bothering your field trainer or you're asking them too much or all those kind of things. Okay. All right. So, but the reason that I want you to see this is the total advance at District 654. So when I started, my goal was $2,000 a month. That was my full-time goal, like almost 30 years ago. I was replacing my nursing income. Okay. But somebody part-time here that wants $2,000 a month. Think about your team. Think about people you know. Think about yourself. What would an extra $2,000 a month do in your budget? Is it impactful? You bet it is impactful for people. Okay, we get so caught up in the hundreds of thousands, the millions. Well, how about just $2,000 a month? Is that somebody's retirement and a great holiday or whatever? $24,000 a year. What would an extra 24,000? I mean, the 4 years, that's $100,000. Okay, so what does that mean? If a district only wants that, that's really just seeing about 3 families, isn't it? Doing business with 3 families. So what does that mean? That means they have to make 25 calls. NRN for me means not right now. That's the not right now. I want to tell you something. The smaller print underneath the numbers, that's what takes people out. It's another filter in the business. And are you somebody who's going to bust through that filter, or is it going to stop you? The 13 that say not right now, for whatever reason. Are you aware of that? Does it bother you? What are you doing about it? Okay. You set 12, 4 cancel or reschedule. Why? Who cares? Really, who cares why it happens? It happens. Just accept the numbers. Okay. So you set 12. Great. Okay. Set more if you want, just a buffer. Actual, you sit down with 8. So then what happens from that 8? 5 1 an FNA, 3 don't move forward. Why? I don't know. And it's irrelevant. If you go with this, these are company averages. Now, here's the problem. If you only set 2 appointments? What if you only set 2 appointments and they both cancel or don't want to reschedule or want to reschedule? Well, when the kids are back in school, and then next thing you know, it's going to be, well, maybe after Christmas. Are you prepared to put your future on hold for somebody else's schedule? Because that's what you do if you allow that to happen. See, if you just schedule 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 appointments, you could be scheduling the ones that are going to cancel, the ones that are not going to move ahead, the ones that aren't interested, unless you get this many done in that period of time. And why? I don't know. And it's irrelevant. You have to, this is the numbers, how they work. Okay. So once you accept it, you can work it and you can be unstoppable here. 5 FNAs. How come 5? What happened to those other 3? Well, I don't care. Doesn't matter. And only 3 want life sales. They all probably need it. How come? I don't know. Don't want to make a decision, make a change. Whatever. Your job is not to strong arm somebody into making correct financial decisions. Your job is to find the willing, the ready to change, the ones looking for you. This shouldn't be this is not a persuasion business. This is not a force it business. This is a business of like, how awesome is this? I want you to think about yourself. Were you maybe your easiest recruit? Were you probably the easiest recruit on your team? And now maybe you are. And if you are, you could ask your trainer, did they think like that when they recruited you? Or were they in their own head like you probably are? Get out of your head, show people. And the ones that are ready, are the easiest to work with, right? And out of those 12 that you've set, one person says, hey, this is for me. And 7 aren't interested in the business. Why? Irrelevant. We're looking for the diamonds, aren't we? Okay. Okay, I'm going to whip through this first little bit here, but if you don't have a list, that's the number one thing you need to do. To me, a brain dump is like, I'm just going to put every single name of everybody I know in all kinds of categories down on a piece of paper. I'm going to use memory joggers. I'm going to do whatever I can do to make a massive list. And if you feel like you're stagnant, if you feel like you're stuck, you haven't done what you needed to do and you're not where you want to be, then you start here. Do it today. Get a blank piece of paper and start putting out names. Everybody you can think of. Okay, on paper? Oh, good Lord, that's so archaic. Yeah, but you know what? It works. Okay, it works. Is it in your phone? Yeah. You know what? Oh, I have so many contacts in my phone. Do you know if you go to your contact list in your phone and go right down to the bottom, it'll tell you how many people you have? So like right now on my phone, I've got over 2,000 contacts. But those 2,000, that's not my list. You guys know what I'm talking about? You get your list done, okay? Once I've made a list, I think, what are the qualities of a great entrepreneur or a business person? To me, the qualities are things like sense of humor, energetic, positive, ambitious, all those kinds of things. I circle all the names that had those intangible skills, those things that you cannot teach. You can't teach someone to be positive. You can't teach someone to have a sense of humor. Now, does it mean you can't be successful? Heck no. I'm really good friends with Gurpreet Singh. Let me tell you something about Gurpreet. Gurpreet doesn't know she's funny because she doesn't mean to be, and she doesn't think she is. She'll say something, people will laugh, and she'll say to me, why are they laughing? I'm like, oh boy. Okay. Determination is huge. Consistency is huge. But isn't it fun to work with people who are positive and upbeat and energetic and great sense of humor? I look for those things. Then I qualified the list. I focused on 4 or 5 pointers. Why? Path of least resistance. Multi-product needs. From that, I made myself a top 25 list to target. Make yourself a top 50, a top 100 list. Go for the kind of people you're looking for. Build it with purpose. All right. Next thing, know your script. This was life-changing for me. Before I even was licensed, I sat in a fast start school that was broken up into workshops, actually. I sat in a room with a few other people, lots of empty seats. And Bry Lloyd, one of the pioneers in this business, came from Texas, was one of the first people in Canada. And Bry was doing how to set appointments. And these 3 key things. This is what I've taught in my hierarchy, these 3 key things. Ask for their help, a sincere compliment, and take them off the hook. There's too much pressure out there in the world. Well, what do you mean by that? How do you do this? I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I was phoning Lori Pratt. I'm going to phone you. Here's an example. You don't have to unmute or anything. I'm just using your name. Okay. If I said, hey, Lori, it's Bernadette. Haven't seen you in a bit. Hey, listen, I've started a career in financial services. I don't think you'd be interested yourself personally, but you know what? I'd really appreciate your help. I respect your opinion. Would you help me out by giving me some objective feedback? Are you home Wednesday or Friday better? Do you have any time on 7 or 8? So it takes me like seconds. It's no pressure. And this is kind of how it looks. Hey, whoever, I started a career in financial services. I'd really appreciate your help. I respect your opinion. I don't think you'd be interested yourself personally. Would you help me out by giving me some objective feedback? Wednesday or Friday, whatever. Now, I've done something with those 3 things. By the ask for help, take them off the hook, all the compliment. People love giving their opinion because it's free. People don't want to be trapped in their house for a period of time. And you know what I'm on? I respect people's opinion. I want to know what you will never know what you're going to find in a home. I've been field training people who are on our way there. They're saying things like, they're in really good position. I bet you they probably don't have any debt. And I'm sure that they've got money saved, but I really respect them. When we get there and on the outside, it looks all pretty and it's a total disaster financially, tons of debt, no savings, all those kind of things. Never prejudge, ever, ever, ever. It's one of the first things you want to learn. You go in just thinking about the information we're giving. So easy, like I don't have to look at this and I can say, hey, so-and-so, it's Bernadette. Hey, listen, I haven't seen you for a while. You know what? Some things have changed. I've started a career in financial services. I'd really appreciate your help. Maybe, if you're thinking about what I'm doing, I'd respect your opinion. I don't think you'd be interested yourself personally. Would you take a look at what I'm doing and tell me what you think? Got any time? Wednesday or Friday? And I butchered that, but it still came across me. What are you saying? Are you turning it into something big and hard? It has to be relaxed and laid back and no pressure. There's enough pressure out there in the world. People don't need any pressure put on them. People don't want to be trapped in their house. Here's the other thing. You're going to have to expect a minimum of 2 objections on every single call you make. What is an objection? A request for more information to see if it's worth them giving up their free time. Okay? After 3 or 4 objections, likelihood of getting an appointment right then is minimal. You have to know what to say. Okay? So we're going to go through some of the words that you have to say. The other thing I wanted to mention is I got to tell you that you have to practice this on your own. When I hear someone say, I've got an appointment, I'm just going to go and practice my presentation. They're good friends of mine. It's like you never practice with real people who are potential clients or recruits ever. You don't practice with them. You practice with teammates. You practice with yourself in the mirror. You practice with your dog. You don't practice with real people, okay? Because that's not where you want to screw up. You're representing all of us, everyone in the alliance. When you are on an appointment, you represent us. And how awesome is it that is the backing and support you have. That is the success that backs you, that you're part of. Okay? So I want you to think like that, okay? So you have to know what to say. And remember, half of the time you're not supposed to get an appointment, right? So don't beat yourself up if half the time you don't get one. Yeah, you're doing it perfect then. Okay? Make 25 calls, half say not right now, and half are in your daytime room. Okay? Awesome. You're doing it right. Okay, so you need both things. Objections. Am I going to get objections all the time? I'm going to go through a few of these. You know what? I'd be wasting your time. We already have somebody. Awesome. I assumed you would have. That's why I'm calling you. I really respect your insight. Thursday or Friday work better. And secretly I'm going, oh, I'm going to be able to show them so much. If they say not interested, I didn't think you would be interested yourself personally. I'm just looking for your feedback. What's better, Thursday or Friday? If they say I don't have time, I can understand that. It's a busy time of year. I promise not to waste your time. You know what? I respect you too much. I wouldn't waste your time. So what's better, Thursday or Friday? 20 minutes at a minimum. Don't have any extra money. I don't want to take your money, but I'd sure appreciate your thoughts. I've heard of Primerica. When you get that negative vibe, I've heard of Primerica. I'm just not interested. Or something like that. And say, oh, so then you heard Primerica is the largest independent education-based financial services company in North America. You've heard that they are publicly traded, that they have grown from really nothing in almost 50 years. They've been around to huge, have over 130,000 people licensed. You've probably heard that they meet and exceed all regulatory guidelines in every province and territory in Canada. You've probably heard that. You've probably heard that they make the education and financial training that before has been limited to the wealthy available to the masses? Is that what you've heard? And you know what, if they're still negative, well, no, like, or whatever, I'd say, oh, well, you know what? You could really help me out then. Let me show you what I found out. And I would appreciate it if you point out any challenges or concerns for me. You know why? Because if I have somebody who says, oh, Primerica, I'm going to turn them around because, like, don't you disrespect my family? You know what I mean? I'm going to defend. We're right. I know I'm right. And you're wrong. And I'm just going to tell you in a nice way. Right? So that's, you know, these. And when you know them, I always expect to get a few. I got to check with my spouse. Awesome. I really want you both there. Tell you what time are they coming home? I'll check back with you then. I'd really appreciate actually if both of you were there. Sounds great. Okay. That kind of thing. I know I'm going to get objections. And I, kind of check off what they are. When they say, now there's lots of others, but these are kind of the ones I run into the most of the time. Okay. 90% of the time, you'll get at least one objection, usually two, when you set an appointment. For most people, it is out of their comfort zone. So new people or people that are newly getting going again have to be prepared to expect it half the time. Okay. So you make a call, you say all these things, you handle the objections. There's only two outcomes. One or two things are going to happen. You're going to get a not right now, or you're going to get an appointment set. Remember, all of this is to, if you're a district and you want to make a couple grand a month to get 25 calls done to set 12 appointments. It's really all it is. Go through the steps, check it off. Okay, so you're going to get a not right now or an appointment set. Here is what I love about knowing there's only two outcomes. When you know what to say, you just go through it and you follow the process. The business plan gives you the process to follow, the steps to follow, so that you know if you get a not right now, you're winning. So these two outcomes. If I get a not right now, you know what? Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it. If something new comes up in a month or two, is it okay if I give you a call back? Always. Always do that. You know why? Because they're going to stay on my list until they listen or they pass away. One of the two. Okay? Or I decide that, whatever. They move away. Whatever. But hard for someone to get off my list if I've got them on my list. They're sticky. Okay? If I have an appointment set, you have a distribution focus always. Every appointment has a goal of recruit and referral. So you have to be thinking that way all the time. But I always say this. Hey, listen. So if I'd set this appointment with Brenda, I'd say, hey, listen, Brenda, I know you're a person of your word, so I'm not even going to call back to confirm. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys think. So I have that set. Because to me, this is a non-cancelable, non-negotiable appointment we just set. So awesome. Can't wait to see you guys. Listen, I know you're a person of your word, so I'm not going to call back and confirm. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think. Whether I get a not right now or set the appointment, I always say, by the way, who would you recommend that I talk to that is a successful business person in your community? Somebody who's really involved, a leader in your whatever, okay? Whether I get a not right now or I get an appointment set, by the way, who else would you recommend I talk to? I'm just asking for more places to go. And if you don't ask, you don't get. Okay? So it's really important for you to ask to get. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? So pretty simple, one of two paths. Not right now, or you have an appointment. Not right now. Okay. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. If something new comes up in the next month or two, is it okay if I give you a call back? You bet. By the way, who would you recommend? Okay. Same thing here. By the way, who would you recommend? Then here's where so many people drop the ball. So follow up. You have to have a system to follow up. Those of you that have been here for a while, have you ever looked at one of your lists and not remembered who those people are? You look at a name and think, where did I get that name? What the heck? Okay. You have to have a system to maintain communication. Whatever your system is, figure out one that works for you. Because when somebody gives you a not right now, it's like saying no to a gift. It's like saying no to a Christmas present. It's like saying no to an awesome all-inclusive trip somewhere. It's like if they knew what it was, they wouldn't say no. But the timing could be wrong. They could have had a terrible day at work. They could have had a fight. They could have had a teenager giving them problems. They could have had a toddler meltdown. You don't know what's going on. But what has happened typically is an unknown temporary factor has influenced an immediate decision. It removes the emotional crash if you have a system, because you just move them over. You don't spend time agonizing over why they said not right now. It doesn't matter. Their timing or the unknown temporary factors really are none of your business. What's your business is to have a follow-up in your calendar to go back to them. I have a regional leader named Jody on my team that it was because of a follow-up that she's a regional leader on my team. If you have the appointment set, you must have a system for handling the challenges that are going to come. You've set 12, you know 4 are going to reschedule or postpone, whatever. You know you're going to have a dark house. And if you don't get a dark house, you're not making enough appointments. If people don't cancel on you, well, that's because you're not making enough appointments. Or you go on an appointment and just one decision maker is present. You have to have a system for handling those challenges. You have had training and licensing and all of those things. If you sit down and give a presentation and only one is there, let me tell you what happens when you leave. That other person that saw your presentation briefly and it was all news to them is now going to attempt to give a presentation to someone else without any materials to do it. They are going to chop it up, destroy it, and you're not getting back there. So you have to have a plan if there's only one decision maker. If I only have one decision maker, I just show them the financial house and tell them, if here's ultimately what we do is help people create wealth and get out of debt. And, if you'd like to learn the concepts, let me know when your spouse is home and I'll come and show you how you guys could do it for yourselves. You have to have a system for handling the interruptions that are going to happen. The phone ringing, the kids interrupting, a spouse trying to watch the ball game, in the other room. All those kind of things. Expect 1 out of every 3 to have a challenge. Okay. So when you have that expectation, when you do have appointments and go all smoothly, you almost feel like, oh boy, what's going on here? Right. So you have to have these. If it's the expectation, what is your expectation? I had the expectation people were going to say no, people were going to stall, people were going to whatever. So that meant that I had to push the presentation. The information doesn't work. What is form? Form is something that's so important. Family, occupation, recreation, money, or motivation. So that's what it stands for. You guys know that. You've been here for a little bit. So when you're sitting down with someone, you ask questions. You ask questions and you listen. One thing that I love about this business is that people are so different and people live interesting lives. They don't think it's interesting because it's just them. But when I ask about family questions, I ask, are you guys both from here? And you know what usually you get? No. It's like, I'm from here, I'm from here. Well, where did you guys meet? I'm interested about that for a number of reasons. Well, one is from somewhere, one's from somewhere else. Those are 2 markets right there. Where did they meet? Well, wherever they met, that's another market. Where do you guys where do your kids go to school? Are they in a good school? Is it close? Do they have to take the bus, or kids in the neighborhood go, or, that kind of thing? What does that tell me? That's a whole other market. Is this where you guys plan on retiring? Have you been here very long? Is this your forever home? Tell me a little bit about goals and dreams, all of those things. So you ask those kind of questions. When you ask occupation, where do you guys work now? How long? Oh, that's interesting. Tell me a little bit about it. Do you work with other people or kind of on your own? What do you like about it? What would you change if you could? I want to make that an ideal job. What would they have to do? When you ask those questions, it's getting to know them, which helps you. It helps you move forward in that. Recreation. What do you do with your downtime? I see you guys have a holiday trailer. Do you camp a lot, or what do you guys do? And sometimes people, we don't have any, our holiday time is going to arenas with our kids. Oh, awesome. Tell me about that. Are they like, what kind of team do they play on? Really busy with that? Where are they going to take it? All those kind of things. Any other sports? Look around their home. Find out what matters to them. Motivation. What are you working for? Like, over the next 5 years, where do you guys see yourself? Asking those kind of questions is we're in the people business. We're in the business of helping people get the life they want. So what we show them does the work. So you think it's all you. Oh, you're so good. No, the stuff is. The concepts are. If it is, be positive, relaxed, and confident. You could be feeling like an entire stress ball, but relax, mirror them, slow things down. I was field training someone that they got to the point where they were doing the presentation and I was watching, and I could tell they were getting like, whoa, wound right up. And I just said, it was to a single parent. And I said, would you mind, could I bother you for a glass of water? And when she went up and went in the kitchen, I said to him, take a deep breath and hold your breath for a minute. Starting to hyperventilate, just nervous and speaking too fast. So like, slow yourself down and then go. And you know what? The weight of the world doesn't rest on any one appointment. You feel like it does, but it doesn't. My husband and I are closest friends at the time when I started in Primerica. Were hesitant to see us. And when they did see us, they weren't real receptive. Some people want to keep you where you are because it makes them still feel good about not changing or pursuing more in life. And that was, difficult realization. This business also gives you real clarity about the backbone people have. You might see people who look like they're so polished, they're so pro, people would listen to them, and you realize, well, they just don't have enough courage. They're just not mentally and emotionally tough enough. See, those things you never prejudge because you'll always be wrong. Okay. So the choices you have for giving a presentation are many. Do whatever you do in your base shop. There's that 6-page presentation, and on my team, we use either the PowerPoint Financial House or the PowerPoint, with a video embedded in it. But the whole goal is spreading the message, and who do you know? Sales are a byproduct. I wanted to be, I hear people talk about the investment business and all that. You're never going to become a strong investment producer unless you do all this first. You can't jump over the first part and become an investment advisor. You just can't and have a successful big book of business. You have to get good at the front end of this business. That's seeing people, starting packs, buy, term, invest, the difference, going through the numbers, all those things, the referrals, the recruits, all come from us showing people what Primerica does. And if you think somebody's not interested in investing and you jump over it because you've made a judgment call that they need help with debt or they're poor or whatever, it's shame on you. You have to do the whole thing. You assume they're not interested in the business, so you don't mention it. Well, who are you to decide? Frank Dillon was a clinical psychologist. Dave Francis was a lawyer. Like, who are you to decide that somebody's got this great job that you think is pretty cushy? So you don't offer them an opportunity to be their own boss and have freedom of time and all those things. You're not going to recruit if people don't know Primerica recruits people. So you have to have it there. Okay. I want to show you a few what I call them pro tips. Okay. And the reason that, why do I call them pro tips? Well, you have to become a professional. You go from sucking and daring to do the work to where you get good, to where you get great. Record yourself setting an appointment. Not with a real person, what you'd say. Record yourself with your appointment setting, your objection handling, your presentation. Commit the words to memory. I would drive and I'd say out loud to myself, I practiced appointment setting, objection handling. I got so that I'd picture the pages of a presentation and give the presentation as I was driving, because I was on the road a lot, driving kids to practices or whatever. Become a master at those tie-down questions. Tie-down questions. That just makes sense, doesn't it? It'd be awesome to have a great retirement, wouldn't it? It would just feel fantastic to be totally debt-free, wouldn't it? All those tie-down questions that require a yes answer. See, winners schedule their success. If everybody had to put up their day timer right now, and I could see it, would you be proud of it? Or would you say, can you just give me a day? Or can you just give me a couple days? I would venture, most people would be like, just give me a couple days and then I'll show you. Because you'd feel pressure to do what you needed to do. Because you know you can do more, right? You know you can. Okay, take initiative and leadership of your personal skill up. Don't wait for somebody else. Don't treat Saturday training like entertainment for an hour and a bit on Saturday morning. Don't be one of those people. Lots of people do. And part of it is entertaining. I enjoy it. But you know what? Go through your notes. Go through your notes after. Get better at it. So your personal skill up, are you better now than you were 6 months ago? Are you better now than you were a month ago? Have you had time? Are you working on it? Have non-negotiable appointment setting times blocked in your calendar. It is the root everything grows from in your business is appointment setting. And people leave it as a last minute thing. It is the source of all things good here. Never miss a training or opportunity from people that have already done it. Is it hard? Yes. Are you uncomfortable? Yes. Do I like setting appointments? No. I really dislike it. I am an introvert. Okay. So if I see you at a convention or something and it doesn't look like, if I'm looking a little unapproachable, it's just I'm shy. I'm nervous. It is takes a toll, man. But you know what? To get the life I want, I'm going to do this. I did it. I felt the crusade. You don't have the crusade unless you've been out there on enough appointments that you see what happens. And then that helps you do more. When you really see the crap that goes down, is unbelievable. This next slide is just for those of you that are field trainers or soon to be field trainers. And in our Bishop, what we do is when somebody is newly recruited, we get 4 or 5 references from them. And the field trainer, the RVP, calls the references. And here's what we ask. Let's say I was calling Jack. I'd say, good afternoon. My name is Bernadette. Hey, Jack, I'm with Primerica Financial Services, and Carolyn has listed you as a reference. Would you have a few minutes to answer a few questions? Great. How long have you known her? Would you consider them to be a good character? Would you believe them to be trustworthy and honest? You know, sometimes we on our actual form, I just minimize it here. It says, how do you know them from work or how, you know, what capacity do you know them? As part of Carolyn's training, you know, they'll be required to observe a number of presentations. If she were to call you, would she have enough credibility with you that you would help her out? That goes to credibility, right? And usually we always usually get a yes. You know what? That's awesome. By the way, thank you for your time. Thank you for the character reference. If you see her, please, like, you know, wish her success. By the way, I'll have her call you in the next day or two to set up that training presentation. They'll really appreciate your help. Thanks so much for your reference. Okay. So what this really does for us, and you know what I could do maybe on the Instagram or something, I'll put something up. But here's the last little bit is really, you know, you have to know your goal, know what's required, work and track the numbers, and then raise your goal. Because really, why not you? Your attitude, your behavior gets the results you want. So be excited, but be methodical in your planning. Be emotional about your goals, unemotional about working the numbers, and be determined to be the most prepared, because your business level is in direct proportion. Your belief level is in direct proportion to your success. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging with me today. And I'll stop the share and we'll go back to the main room. All right, everybody?
Slap.
Are we supposed to get a message, leave the room? I did not receive the message.
Get it yet, but there's still 49 seconds left for this meeting, so that's why you didn't get it yet. So somebody could sing, it'd be nice. I think they're going to kick us out automatically, actually, at the end. I don't know what's going on. We're out of time. We should be out of here.
Still here.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on. But some people did. Okay, here it is.